The mysterious Nampa Figurine. The Nampa Figurine was found in 1889 when workers drilled the water well near Nampa, located in southwest Idaho. This artifact seems to be skillfully formed in clay, and ever since its discovery, it's been baffling scientists. According to the story, the workers reached a layer of clay over 90 meters down in the well. After reaching this point, their steam pump spat out this piece of brownish clay that looked like a small figurine. The object itself is described as being in great condition, bearing in mind how far down it was discovered. Those who have studied the figurine have said it looks like a female figure and does not seem to have been manufactured recently. According to Professor F.W. Putnam of Harvard University, quartz grains found under the doll's right arm were cemented by iron molecules. This is a clear indicator that this artifact might be very old. Many scientists took time and investigated this controversial figurine. They all conducted diverse tests, and they all agreed that the figurine is fully authentic and also of ancient origins. One of the largest predators in the world to have ever existed was that of the megalodon. The giant shark could easily grow up to 60 feet in length and had a bite more powerful than that of a Tyrannosaurus rex. Strangely enough, although sharing a timeline that would have placed this creature on Earth around the same time as our prehistoric ancestors, suddenly and quite rapidly, the megalodon went extinct. Although the question as to what caused the extinction of this giant shark still to this day remains a mystery. Though many would remark that the size of the megalodon made it an incredible predator that helped to allow the creature to dominate the oceans during its reign, the truth is that the creature's large stature actually proved to be more of a hindrance. In order to support its massive body weight and muscle growth, the body of the megalodon had a tremendous metabolism. This meant the creature needed to consume massive amounts of food in order to not starve. This calorie requirement would have forced the megalodon to eat more than 2,500 pounds of meat a day just to survive. Given the fact that the diet of the massive shark was made up mostly of turtles and seals, the megalodon would have been forced to be in a constant state of predation just to meet its daily calorie requirements, even going so far as possibly eating its own young in times of stress. Given the fact that the megalodon often travelled over vast distances, this led to it winding up in new areas that did not contain an adequate food source and ultimately left the entire species incredibly vulnerable. Although most researchers agree this giant shark went extinct many years ago, there have been whispers of alleged giant sharks being witnessed by those who spend large amounts of time on the water. One such creature has become known as the black demon shark. Over the last 20 years, it's been spotted off the shores of Mexico's Baja California peninsula. These reports and sightings have been made by a number of fishermen across the Mexican coast that claimed to have seen a massive black shark roughly 60 feet in length and resembling the build of a great white shark, but with that of a dark coloration across its body and a massively sized tail. Given the fact that many of these reports fit many of the modern-day recreations using megalodon skeletons, it's led many to believe that it could be a possible hunting ground for the creature. Additionally, many of the fishermen that have reported the sighting have often been veterans in the field, never having once claimed such sightings in the past and having more than enough experience with different species of whales throughout the region. The mystery of the Devil's Sea. The main cause of the legends of the Devil's Sea was that of the unexplained disappearance of 9 ships. Between 1950 and 1954, 9 modern ships of that era went missing in what was described as perfect weather. This sparked the anomalous properties of the Devil's Sea, although many claim that the Devil's Sea and its dangers go back centuries. It appears that the majority of cases have been fairly recent all throughout the area. What many are not aware of is that before the area was popularly given the name the Devil's Sea, government officials were already well aware of the strange danger of the location. In fact, the Yokohama Coast Guard of the region outlined the area as a danger zone that was to be avoided at all costs, though never elaborated as to why the area was given that classification. Several years later, this danger zone would end up resting right in the middle of the Devil's Sea Triangle. Interestingly enough, despite the area having been given the Danger Zone title, the government attempted to deny that the Devil's Sea had ever been a dangerous area. This was after the myths and rumours of the Devil's Sea began causing a strain on the economic shipping conditions and port docking. It's not just ships that have gone missing, people have also experienced alleged paranormal entities. For example, one captain reported seeing a large black mass hovering above the ocean. He described it as looking like an 8-foot-tall entity that suddenly vanished when he approached it. The sailor said that he had never seen anything like it before and that conditions had been great that day. Others have reported seeing sea monsters in the region. One report was that of an alleged sea serpent that was harassing local workers. They said that while sailing in the area, a large sea monster would bump their boat. Some of the eyewitnesses described a creature that was over 30 feet in length, with one sailor saying that the creature had 2 large bulging black eyes. To this day, mysterious accounts are still being reported from this region. The Wendigo Monster. One of the most frightening cryptids is said to be that of the Wendigo. Though the Wendigo has often been compared to that of the jackalope, a known fictitious creature, there are many that swear the existence of the Wendigo. According to witness accounts, the Wendigo is described as being somewhere between the size of an average person to being more than 15 feet tall. Others have said the creature can change its height depending on what it's doing. One thing that witnesses point out is that it's tall and able to run incredibly fast. Ancient tribes don't like talking about the creature in fear of summoning one. The legend of the Wendigo dates as far back as 40,000 years ago, saying that these creatures would disguise themselves as a human in the hopes of being led back to human villages. Once let in, it would devour other humans and destroy their homes. Today, no such evidence of the creature exists, and every video recording of such a monster has proven to be inconclusive or completely forged. Still, despite the lack of evidence, the Wendigo is one of the most popular North American monsters that continues to make its existence known all throughout Canada. Over the years, the human race has increased its technology. What we thought was once impossible, we are now doing. This can be seen in the recent advancements of robotics and artificial intelligence. However, one thing that we are focusing on is space. Though it has often been the target of science fiction novels depicting futuristic cities on our red neighbour, the colonization of Mars had previously never been a goal expected to be accomplished by existing space corporations, agencies, or governmental programs. This has changed recently as the up-and-coming private space agency known as SpaceX has announced this year that not only have they been working to perfect the costs and efficiency of travel, but that a deadline and developments for the colonization of the Martian planet has already begun. They have speculated that they should begin the last stages of the project sometime in early 2023, which will then see its first manned launch in 2024, containing many different people hand-selected by the company to begin the first processes of colonization on the Martian surface. Many problems previously argued by skeptics that deemed the project impossible have already been solved by the private space company, and the last matters of development and logistics have already begun forming. However, recently astronomers at the Panoramic Survey Telescope and Rapid Response System found an icy anomaly near Neptune. This mysterious object has been named Niku. The word Niku means rebellious, and scientists have agreed that this name is quite fitting. Interestingly, it's been discovered that Niku has an orbit that is 110 degrees different from all other orbits. Not just this, but this object also orbits in reverse. Some have put forward the theory that this mysterious Niku is actually Planet 9. It also goes by the name of Nibiru, and its believers are convinced the rogue system is making its way from the outer solar system inwards, where it would wreak havoc on Earth as it passes at about 4 million miles away. This hypothetical Neptune-sized planet has allegedly been witnessed by humans before, with some saying that the planet was talked about in the distant past and that it even features in certain texts. The idea is that every couple of thousand years, this planet makes its way towards Earth. This has, however, been debunked by scientists, and they say that this will not happen. NASA also had this to say about the planet. The story started with claims that Nibiru, a supposed planet discovered by the Sumerians, is headed toward Earth. This catastrophe was initially predicted for May 2003, but when nothing happened, the doomsday date was moved forward to December 2012 and linked to the end of one of the cycles in the ancient Mayan calendar at the winter solstice in 2012. However, nothing has happened and nothing is going to happen. Regardless, astronomers are still studying Niku. Giant stones of Baalbek in Lebanon. The most mysterious ruins of the Roman Empire lie in the city of Baalbek in Lebanon, and among these ruins lie the strange giant stones. During the Roman era, the city of Baalbek was known as Heliopolis, or the City of the Sun. This city featured a huge temple and various other buildings. Modern-day archaeologists have been able to identify most of the buildings and their usage, but the giant stones that lie amongst the ancient ruins are still unexplained. Some of these stones are considered to be from an even earlier era. Weighing more than 1,000 tons each, there are 27 such stones. The largest stone weighs 1,500 tons. It's considered to be the largest cut stone in the world, and the fact that the movement of this stone is still a huge engineering challenge leaves many questions. For example, what technology was used to carve these stones, and how did they move these giant stones? The scale of these stones is absolutely mind-blowing. Another incredible fact that has baffled the archaeologists is the amazingly precise positioning and fitting of these stones. To give you some idea, these stones are fitted with such accuracy that it is almost impossible to insert even a needle between them. Many people believe that some of the earlier civilizations were way more advanced in science and technology than us, so they were able to construct such megastructures that we are not able to explain. Some people are of the opinion that the stones were carved and moved by an early civilization of giants who could lift these stones easily. Maybe one day our civilization will get advanced enough to be able to explain and understand such marvels of ancient civilizations. The accounts of the Sea People. Though there were many ancient civilizations that had existed during the 12th century BC, suddenly and quite unexpectedly, nearly every civilization was wiped from the face of the earth except the cities of Egypt. This phenomenon was recorded as the late Bronze Age collapse that soon bled into the early Greek Dark Ages, as only small villages of humanity survived this sudden catastrophe. For many decades, the cause of such an occurrence had widely been known and shrouded in mystery. That was until the ancient language of the Egyptian hieroglyphics had been decoded and allowed us to read the historical records captured at the time by the last standing ancient civilization. This record has led to countless theories and endless debate amongst Egyptologists, classic historians, and archaeologists since its findings. Reportedly, by the historical accounts of the ancient Egyptians, armies of what had been referred to at the time as Sea People attacked and demolished the cities of man. In fact, the descriptions of the armies of the Sea People describe monsters and giants coming from the oceans and waging war against all of civilization. The reasoning for why this sudden onslaught had occurred has yet to be better understood. But what is all the more surprising is the vast conspiracy surrounding the events. Accounts continue of the Egyptians attempting to track the source of the beasts that appeared humanoid in nature and found hundreds of footprints leaving and coming from the beaches of the Mediterranean Sea. Today, after uncovering vast art depicting the battles, documents detailing the events, and further evidence of war and tactics used against the destroyed and forgotten civilizations of the past, the proof of the account of the Sea People appears to be overwhelming in nature. As a matter of fact, the events are so overwhelming that the discussions surrounding the event in the scientific community has been completely shut down, and further theories or attempts at uncovering the truth are treated with both disdain and ridicule. Regardless of this ridicule, however, Many researchers continue to attempt to understand the mysteries of the Sea People and remain restless in their pursuits. Perhaps one day we will better understand whether these accounts are of mythology or true history. Until then, the accounts of the Sea People are shrouded in creepy events and terrifying mysteries. Mysterious tunnel underneath Mexican pyramids. Going back a few years ago, archaeologists discovered something interesting. While carrying out tests, they'd discovered a tunnel and chamber hidden beneath a 2,000-year-old pyramid. The ancient structure is situated in the Mesoamerican city of Teotihuacan in Mexico. Teotihuacan and its valley bears proof of its ancient civilization in the form of incredible structures. Human occupation of the valley began before the Christian era, but it was during the 1st and the 7th centuries AD that it became one of the largest ancient cities in the Americas. It's thought to have had over 25,000 inhabitants. The people of the city used the natural elements of the valley, for example, the San Juan River. Perhaps what they're best known for is the monumental buildings and complexes. These buildings are also known to have been decorated with wall paintings. Many archaeologists have come forward and said that they were ahead of their time. A new tunnel and chamber were recently discovered during a study of the structure by researchers from the National Institute of Anthropology. The tunnel's entrance was found only a couple of weeks back. Veronica, who is the director of the conservation project, said the following: "The tunnel is towards the south of the Plaza de la Luna, but it's probable that there is another entrance towards the eastern side. Archaeologists and researchers have said that the new chamber could contain human remains as well as other artifacts, some of which could look like those that have been discovered within other parts of the pyramids. The chamber in question is around 26 feet under the pyramid, and it's thought to have a diameter of 49 feet. Something that has baffled archaeologists is that no one knows who founded this ancient city or why the civilization collapsed. The Aztecs were among the first to discover these ancient ruins and decided to give it its name. Translated, it means the place where men become gods. Since its discovery, it's been the site of many excavations. The Pyramid of the Moon was found to have been built on elevated ground. It's thought that it was designed on purpose to reflect the hill that can be seen in the background. Also close by are 12 smaller pyramids. Researchers have estimated that it was built between 1 and 350 AD. A pyramid structure that is located at the south side provides a stairway up to the clouds. Tombs have been discovered inside this pyramid, which have contained humans as well as jewelry. Specialists have said that the newly discovered chamber will most probably turn up similar things. For every discovery that is made here helps us to understand what things could have been like during this period. Sheepsquatch. Similar to that of its Sasquatch counterpart, the Sheepsquatch of West Virginia stands at over 9 feet tall and seems to be a strange hybrid of a large woolly man with the face of a ram and the large curling horns to match. The creature is believed to be native to the forests of West Virginia, with a number of eyewitness reports of the creature coming out through many different woodlands and mountainous areas. Back in 1995, an incident involving a group of campers out in the forest at night in an area located around a dense forest featured the monster in its entirety. According to the group of campers, they hear what originally was described as the huffing and snorting of a bear in the region, only for the large Sheepsquatch creature to come running out of the bushes and attempt to attack them. Although they ran away completely unharmed, they claimed they could hear the monster's terrible screams chasing them through the forest. Witness reports of the creature today vary from that of the creature running on 2 legs or crawling around on all 4s with that of a very long tail behind it. Regardless of these variations in witness account, they all compare the monster to that of a ram and give it the name the Sheepsquatch. Today, the creature is known to inhabit mountainous regions all throughout North America, as well as making rare appearances all throughout the denser South American jungles located in Brazil. There has been no explanation of the creature, and it appears that any further evidence surrounding the creature's existence is up for question. a new queen of the 5th dynasty. One of the most puzzling questions for Egyptologists has been trying to get an accurate timeline of the reign of the pharaohs and dynasties of ancient Egypt to better understand the developments and policy changes at what specific times in history they played out. Though there are many missing pieces to the puzzle of Egypt all throughout history, there was none more so puzzling than the ruler of Egypt following the demise of Pharaoh Neferefre. The Pharaoh Neferefre was the 4th pharaoh of the 5th dynasty, taking leadership shortly after the passing of his father, and spent his first few years finishing his father's pyramid, laying the foundations for his own as well as working on a project known as Hotep-Re, of which was a sun temple that would have been the location of offerings to the god Ra. Unfortunately for the pharaoh, he would pass away under mysterious circumstances after only a few years of ruling and would die in his early 20s. This meant that, for quite a long period of time, there was no male successor to Egypt, and Egyptologists were uncertain as to who exactly remained in power during this time. Recently, however, new evidence has surfaced that leads many researchers to believe that a secret queen of Egypt had ruled during this time in place of a male successor. Back in 2015, Egyptologists unearthed an unfinished pyramid that was located nearby the tomb of Pharaoh Neferefre, leading researchers to believe that the tomb was that of his queen. Additionally, the walls of the tomb are inscribed with hieroglyphics that claim the woman who inhabits the tomb was both the wife and mother of the pharaoh. Given the fact that ancient Egyptians were obsessed with covering up any female rulers of history, as was seen with Hatshepsut, another female queen, this has led many to connect the puzzle that this new tomb might be that of a missing queen and 5th ruler of the 5th dynasty.